What is going on, guys? Got another episode of Talking That Talk. Today is Wednesday, January 27th, 2021. Kriegs, Keith, uh, this is going to be officially episode 2 of our first week. Uh, just going to jump right into it. We've had some pretty big things happen in the MLB world as of recently. So this podcast itself is going to be just MLB talk, and then our first installment of Cub Talk, which is going to be 100% just about the Cubs. um, so going back in the last 2 days, yesterday, they announced that there's going to be no DH or expanded playoff this year, which wasn't that shocking to me last year because of the 60 game season. They did a universal DH. So they were talking about kind of seeing that, and they expanded the playoffs. They were talking about kind of seeing that work into the 162 game season, and they decided against that and decided against the expanded playoffs. Um, Real Muto, catcher for the Philadelphia Phillies, re-signed with them, which he was the catcher in the free agent market this year. 5 years, $110.5 million. I think it's the biggest catcher contract in the
Yep.
league right now.
Not by much, but yeah, it's the biggest ever
Wow, biggest ever. Didn't know that.
for a catcher. Yep.
Um,
The more you know.
Also, um, fuck, I can't think of his first name.
Marcus Simeon.
Yep, Marcus Simeon signed a 1 year, $18 million deal to Toronto. He's a middle infielder, primarily a shortstop. Can play just about anywhere on the infield and on the corner besides first. That's kind of big news for Chicago. We'll talk about that a little bit later when we dive into Cubs talk. First off, in the MLB, though, had some pretty exciting news happen yesterday. We'll let Zach take away with that.
Not exciting, but kind of bullshit. Hall of Fame committee did not vote anybody to be part of the 2021 class. So with this year's ceremony, well, last year's ceremony getting canceled, they're just going to essentially bump last year's up. But the committee needs to go. They need to change the way they vote. They need to change the voters because the lack of there shouldn't be a year where nobody makes the Hall of Fame. Yes, I get it. It's for elite players. But if you look at the list, at least 3 or 4 of those guys should have got in. And all of those guys deserve to be in at some point. And I get not having everybody be a first ballot Hall of Famer because that's going to take away the specialness, the club, first ballot club, take away from that. But Bonds deserves to be in. Schilling deserves to be in. Clemens deserves to be in. Sheffield deserves to be in. Those are a whole another story. The PEDs, all that stuff. But at this point, they've been on the ballot. They're all going into their last year next year. They should have been in already, but this committee is a bunch of what was the word I used to describe them yesterday? I cannot think of it. They're
It doesn't make sense.
They're egotistical pricks. They want to say,
won't.
"Hey, I'm the reason this guy didn't get in," or "I'm the reason this guy wasn't a unanimous vote," which is bullshit, and it shouldn't be that way. It's just, and then another thing, the biggest surprise to me was the lack of votes for Andrew Jones. That dude won 10 straight Gold Gloves, and had a better WAR than Chipper Jones in 7 of the seasons they put together.
Yeah,
which is
a beast out in Atlanta.
Unbelievable, and he's one of the few that broke in his teens, and was great coming in. He played 12 really good seasons and then deteriorated his last couple seasons. Which
he played in Baltimore too, didn't he?
Yeah, he's kind of all over the place at the end, but it was mostly Atlanta. But his years in Atlanta were phenomenal.
Yeah, that was a good squad they had.
It's a team that you take away the dynasty of the Yankees, they'll probably win more than one World Series. But
I can agree with that. Yeah.
What do? You had the core four of the Yankees, all in their prime. I
That
mean, and
those.
they made like 4 World Series in 6 years or something like that.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Um, Kurt Schilling had an interesting quote. Said, "I will not participate in the final year of voting. I'm requesting to be removed from the ballot. I defer to the Veterans Committee and men whose opinions actually matter or who are in a position to actually judge a player." And I could not agree more with that statement because the guys who are on the committee now, a lot of them don't know what the hell they're doing. Like I said, they're a bunch of egotistical pricks, and
So
they
do
don't
you?
they don't deserve a vote.
Yeah. Do you think with Kurt Schilling saying this, it's going to kind of affect how they either go about it in the future,
I think it's going to open
or
some eyes.
I think it's going to open eyes, but the only thing I don't want it to do is I don't want it to draw significance away from what the Hall of Fame is.
Yeah, I completely agree with that.
Because I don't want people to follow the trend of, oh, the Hall of Fame is just a bunch of fucks that want to, be like you said, have a walk around with a big fucking dick, like that. It's that simple. They want to be. Oh, I was the person. I was the reason he didn't get in. Like shit like that. Like just like you said. I don't want it to turn out to where players are like, oh, the Hall of Fame doesn't matter anymore. Like it's just a bunch of like, I don't care if I make the Hall of Fame, and I don't. I don't want to. I don't want it to be that way.
I'm checking right now because
I actually just got some breaking news on my watch, so I'm going to talk about it. Today, uh, Chad Wheeler, offensive tackle of the Seattle Seahawks, was released from the team because he was arrested for possible domestic violence charges. And today, or just literally just now, I'm reading it on my watch. Um, he is now facing 3 criminal charges, including first-degree domestic violent assault. So,
they better
there
run
was,
him through the ringer like they ran Ray Rice.
yeah, and I mean, the girl basically described it and said that he beat the shit out of her. Sorry if this is trigger warning or anything like that, but it's just breaking news. Apparently, he hit her a couple times to the point where she was unconscious, and he went back and just started eating dinner at the table. Like just
And
started eating again,
she came.
thinking that he killed her. And she came back and he said, "Oh, I thought you were dead." So that's fucking nuts.
God awful person. Hope he rots in jail, in prison for the
Yeah,
rest of his life.
yeah. That's just not acceptable in any amount of way.
No,
Like you just don't do that shit.
that is all we're gonna talk about that. But here I found those. So Rivera is the only unanimous vote. 100%
Mhm.
got all the votes. I understand you want that to be a small portion of your Hall of Famers, but I want to know who the one person is that didn't vote for Jeter, and I want to know the 3 people who didn't vote for Griffey, because those are the 2 closest to being unanimous. That
Yeah,
one dude voted for Jeter knowing he would be the only person that didn't vote for Jeter, and he can say,
and
"Oh, I."
they will never announce it too,
No,
right?
he's like, I think it's announced, but he's lives with that's what he wanted. He's like, I'm the only guy that didn't vote for Jeter, and the
Yeah,
Griffey,
which is dumb,
yeah,
dude.
the Griffey
It
ones
doesn't
too.
matter if you are. It doesn't matter what kind of fan of a franchise you are. If you are a fan of the sport of baseball, you have to realize how amazing Derek Jeter was as a fucking player,
Yes.
or Ken Griffey too. Just like they're both like that. It was a lot of it was right before we were kind of like being able to remember and follow baseball and shit.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember Jeter and a, a couple good. He had a couple good seasons that I remember very very much. Um, but I don't remember him, being young. I remember him with A Rod playing third like that. I remember those Yankees. I don't remember the young
Yeah.
Yankees.
But the bottom line is the voting needs to change. The voters need to change. That whole committee needs to get shooken up from the bottom up. Um, it's just, it's bullshit at this point. And I get oh, he cheated, so and so cheated, they used steroids, they whatever.
Yeah, you still got to hit the ball.
You can take all the roids you want, you can get as big as you want, as strong, fast as you want. Hitting a baseball is the hardest thing to do in a sport. Period. You could I hate that argument too. I hate people that come against that argument like, oh, if I was juiced or if I knew what pitches were coming, you still have to make contact with the ball. You have to make good contact with the ball for the ball to go
But fuck
anywhere.
the Astros. With
Well,
that
yeah.
being said,
Well, yeah. This channel is completely fucked the Astros. Um, but you got to make contact with the ball. Like Bonds was a great hitter before. I just obviously this gave more pop, but that dude could hit like nobody's business. Barry Bonds deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. Roger Clemens deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. Kurt Schilling deserves to be in the Hall of Fame, and that's where I'm leaving it.
did Kurt Schilling juice?
No, but there's allegations of it. There's nothing. There's no clear evidence of him cheating. It's just allegations.
Mm-hmm.
But with that being said, we'll hop into our first installment of Cubs talk. First thing is, what the fuck are they doing as an organization?
Man, we've gone 2 episodes. This is our third episode doing this podcast, and I have waited for you to ask me that question because they're selling, like they're throwing literally like we just we're gonna just jump into some stats right away, right? Last year, our starting rotation: Yu Darvish, Kyle Hendricks, John Lester, Quintana, and Chatwood. This year, all right, you know what? Fuck that. We'll just talk about what's happened as offseason moves so far. Okay, I think the biggest, and the Cubs fucking released a video today, officially like trading John Lester, and it made me cry like a little fucking bitch. It really did. Kyle Schwarber and John Lester sent to the Nationals. Both signed deals there. They weren't traded. They're just both signed. Um, John Lester basically begged the Cubs to like sign him for whatever, and the Cubs just refused to. He's gonna play 1 year. He's gonna literally play 1 year in Washington
And
and retire.
retire. He just wanted one more year, and the Cubs couldn't give him that, which is a bunch of bullshit.
Right. He because I think he would have retired last year if there would have been fans.
Yeah.
I think what he really wanted to do is he wants to go off like as the fan with the fans, and it's gonna literally make me cry seeing him in like not in Cubby blue
That's how I feel about Schwarber. We'll get to a couple other guys. Kipnis, Maben, Hamilton. Those guys are still unrestricted. Yeah, they're still free agents. Almora is another guy who couldn't hit water fish out of a boat, but his glove is phenomenal. He's somebody
anymore.
that you would have liked to see develop more. Um,
And I mean, he could hit the ball in 15 and 16. He put the bat on the ball, and then 17 was kind of, and then the last couple years,
he couldn't hit his weight.
it's just downgraded.
We
Same thing
got
with Addison Russell when we had him.
the
It
year
was
we
the
won the
same
World
way.
Series. He had like 90 something RBIs, 20 home runs, hit really well, and
Mm-hmm.
then it was shit after that. Jose Martinez, dumpster fire of a player. That was the dumbest move. That was one of the dumbest moves they made last year. He's with the Mets. Quintana signed with the Angels. Got back with Joe Madden. Carantini and Darvish traded to San Diego, obviously, which is a head scratcher. I understand you want to eat. You want to get rid of Darvish's contract if you are selling, if you are reloading. But the last 2 years, Darvish has pitched to what you're paying him. And now, obviously, this is his high point. I get it. This is his highest value. He's at his highest stock price right now. But they didn't
Didn't even get much.
necessarily get in return what you think.
No shot. Because Caratini is Darvish's personal catcher, 100% he is. Switch hitter, can put some pop on the ball, good for 10, 15 home runs a year, maybe 20 on a good season. but he's an everyday catcher anywhere else.
Yeah,
You know,
and
I
that's
think I think
he's
giving
gonna
up him
thrive.
and Darvish, and we got Zach Davies back, we got Zach Davies in return.
And a bunch of
Um,
prospects who have not played above single A ball.
no, and like you said, I understand dumping the contract. You know, the salary
But
cap's
they're
gonna.
still eating it. They're eating some of
Right.
the contract.
It doesn't make sense to me
Does not.
with the roster that we ended last year. Our last game, right? So first, last year the Cubs there's a 60 game season. Cubs finished 34-26, first in the NL Central, made the playoffs, and lost 2-0 to Miami in Chicago in the wild card
Scored
series.
one run in 2 games.
Scored one run in 2 games. Um, the second game was uh, Darvish pitched, so the lineup was a little different because Caratini has to play catcher then. So we're going to talk about the first wild card series game. Starting lineup for that game was Ian Happ in center, Rizzo at first, KB at third, Schwarber in left, Contreras behind the plate, Hayward in right, Baez at short, Caratini DHing, and Kipnis playing second, starting second. Because we were playing a righty, it was just another lefty bat. Bodie ended up coming in, Horner ended up coming in that game. Um, on the bench, we also had Cameron Maybin, who I actually was surprised with the pickup last year with him. He actually played well in the games that he played. Billy Hamilton, it's not bad to have a guy like him. He's got a pretty good glove in center, and he's a speedy guy. He's a threat on the base pass
Yep.
or on the base paths. Jose Martinez, mutual feeling with Zach on that one. It's not good. Don't really understand the signing other than we really couldn't hit lefties that last year, and he could hit lefties well. But
And he came in and started like 0 for 17.
yeah, and then Albert Amora, like you said, couldn't really hit
Defensive
the ball
at that point last year is a defensive replacement.
100%. Hap had a really good year last year, shined out, definitely took over that starting center spot, starting leadoff spot. That's going to be our guy going forward. Um, but I mean, if you go after Trevor Bauer, if you go after Blake Snell, if you go after what started the White Sox get?
Lance Lynn.
Yeah, Lance Lynn. You go after any of them, you add them to your rotation, to your starting five, and throughout a 62 game season, have starting six for half of it to the All-Star break, and then kind of condense it down. You add that, and you add another bullpen piece. You're looking contending for the for the pennant.
Which gives us into the next part is how bad is the actual NL Central. Um, Cubs finished 34-26, first place. They lost obviously 2-0 to the Marlins in the wild card. Cardinals 30-28. They lost 2-1 to San Diego in the same wild card series. The Reds 31-29. Brewers 29-31. They both lost 2-0 in the wild card series. Pirates 19-41. No playoffs. None of these teams have gotten better this offseason. If anything, they've all gotten worse. Which,
I mean, Bauer's gonna walk from the Reds.
Bauer. I don't think Bauer's coming back. And
The Brewers really didn't
and they're
show any promise
looking to
last
get
year.
rid of Hader.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, he's got a big contract, and with the emergence of Devin Williams, how much do you need Hader? I mean, it'd be nice to have a righty lefty punch like that, but none of these teams have made any moves to get better. The Cubs, I think I'm gonna try to be positive. Try to be positive here about it.
So we also got to throw in that Theo's gone.
Theo,
That's probably our biggest hit. Theo Epstein stepped down um as the owner of the Cubs,
Right
and
here broke on me.
they
It's garbage.
they
so
went
you
to
take, you, I got the picture, you
fucking
gotta-
Jed Hoyer.
You need to string it
Jed
together
Hoyer
with
replaced
the better
him.
ones before you lose
Which-
some shit.
Honestly, Theo's gonna have to go. He brought up the Red Sox franchise. He brought up the Cubs franchise, won them. I think he's got 3 titles under his belt. And I think the Jed Hoyer came in, and I just, for whatever reason, he just doesn't think we can win with the team that we had. And a lot of people are saying, our farm system is not terrible.
No,
Our farm system is
it's not
set
great.
up to
It's not
where
great
no, it's not great. It's not great. I
because
wouldn't put
of
it in the top 10 of
because
the
of
league.
how much they sold to win that World Series.
Yeah. We sold a lot. You got to think we gave up Gleyber Torres, who's playing in New York.
Eloy Jimenez,
Who's playing in Chicago, South side of Chicago, and being a White Sox. We gave up a lot to win that World Series, and I'm forever grateful for it. I will forever. You will never hear me say like I'm mad that they did that,
no, because
because
without those
this
moves, they don't win it probably.
right, this core 4 in Baez, Rizzo, KB, Contreras. I'll even say core 5 with Schwarber. Those guys have so much talent that they're gonna make another. I think they would have made another run. I think another year under David Ross. David Ross, first year last year was COVID, played 60 games, and he led him to an NL Central title.
Yep.
First year. Now he's gonna have more of a routine on what he's doing, and
Hopefully.
kind of a feel for how he wants to handle things. And I don't think he's really had a say in what they've been doing. Sometimes managers will have a little bit of an opinion, or
What they want.
shift the spectrum one way. But I don't think David Ross has had any part in any of these moves.
It sucks, but obviously there's nothing we can do about it. But with how bad the Central is, they're not. If they can, I don't see him signing because of how well he pitched. Because he brought up his market so much. Jeffries, if they can sign him back and possibly get another arm or two in the bullpen, decent arm in the bullpen, I mean, there's no reason they don't finish first or second in the Central.
See, so we'll dive into this now. When we talked about Marcus Semien signing, who was the Athletics shortstop before, signed to the Toronto Blue Jays, there has been a lot of speculation, a lot of a blockbuster trade with the Cubs and the Blue Jays involving us shipping off Kyle Hendricks and Chris Bryant in return for
whoever.
A bunch of they have a really good farm system, as well as they have some MLB ready guys right now. Bo Bichetti, Biggio, Vlad. They have some good pitching in their farm system. It makes sense if we're really selling as much as we're selling, and are really committing to this rebuild.
It makes sense to get at least 2 of those guys. You have to get Bo and Vlad, Bo and Biggio and Vlad. You cannot fuck that trade up. Obviously, if you're gonna send Bryant and Hendricks, you have to get MLB ready talent. You have to get guys who have experience that can play 150 games for you, because they're gonna need it. They're absolutely gonna need it. A lot of these guys that they have are good and are decent in the minor leagues, but none of them are ready to make that step and start and play in the MLB. None of them are ready.
I don't know what we're gonna do for the outfield.
The closest one,
really don't.
them signing Philip Ervin was. We'll see about the outfield. I can see the Cubs signing somebody right before spring training or right as spring training starts to bring in, because you're not going to have just 3 outfielders on your roster.
Right.
I mean, they might only add 1 more, but you're not going to have 3. The only person that hitting wise that is ready. The closest to being ready would be Miguel Amaya, the catcher, which I could see him coming up this year. But
Jordan Nwogu. Jordan Nwogu has also been playing really well. Or not playing,
but
but has
he's
been,
only a year removed from college. I don't see them bringing him up just quite yet.
Yeah. I've just been watching a lot of stuff on Twitter, just trying to keep up as much with the Cubs as much as we can. And I mean, it's hard to look at. It's hard to look at this list of starters that we have and think how we're gonna go above 500. In my opinion, for right now we have Hendricks. We know Alec Mills can pitch. He can't really go that long into games, and the Cubs struggle with middle relief pitchers. We haven't really had a whole. Justin Grimm was the best middle relief pitcher I think we've had in the last 5 years. I mean that can handle like the sixth or the seventh.
Yeah.
Um, I don't see. I mean Zach Davies, he's pushing a number two. You know. I think he's a number three in any other rotation. He'll be our number two. Alec Mills would be our number three. Adbert Alzale or whatever the fuck, I can't pronounce his name.
Alzale.
Yeah, Adbert. He is so inconsistent, but there are times where he looks.
Him being
so
inconsistent,
good.
I think, is fault to him going up and down, up and down, up and down.
I think that's true too, and I think that played a factor in the Darvish deal. That they knowing, if they got rid of him, then Adbert's going to come up and he's going to stay up.
Next man up. I can see him maybe struggling at the beginning of the year, but give him 5-6 starts. I think he starts to get in a groove and can possibly see what his capabilities. Because last year towards the end, he had some really good starts. He throws a lot of pitches. That's his main issue. He's not going to be able to last games long. And once you get down the stretch, when you're 30 starts in already, it's hard to keep going, hard to keep the motor going.
He's like I said, when he's been good, he has had some very good starts. He has looked very good. But there are some times where A, he can't throw a strike, or B, he can't move his pitches at all, and he just gets
rocked.
Ate up out there, and he gets frustrated quick too. I think he gets into his head a lot, but that's also, like you said, I think that plays a part in him going up and down, up and down, up and down, not really, having a consistent in the major, because the major leagues is like it's the show, like it's a different, no matter what, it just like college ball to NFL.
And yes,
G League to the NBA. It's there's a difference.
AAA is as close as you're going to get to major league batters. But there's still a huge gap.
They're still in AAA for a reason.
There's still a huge difference. You can get away with a lot more stuff in AAA than you are in the majors. Someone that is interesting to watch is Braylon Marquez, the guy they called up at the very end of last season. The dude throws hard. He's another one that would be great 5-hole, 4-hole, depending on what they do, who they still have. But if he needs to be in the game plan from spring training. Doesn't need to be a limbo of if they're gonna have him up, he needs to be up.
Right.
He doesn't need to go in spring training. Well, you might be up, you might be down. Go into spring training as if he's your number 5. Have him throw, and the split doubleheaders or whatever. He needs to prepare this offseason like he's going to start. And if he doesn't do well in spring training, that's fine. Start him low. Start him down. If he does well, what do you have to lose? You got your 5th starter. And if you want to run six-man with Tyson Miller as well, it's not a bad option.
I'm about out on Tyson Miller. I'm about out on him.
Pulling your chips off?
He shows these. He can't pitch a full game to his potential.
Mm-hmm.
He just can't do it. They tried using him in as a starter when he first came up, or when he was first on the Cubs, couldn't really do it. Then they tried him in a middle relief role, couldn't really come out of the bullpen very consistently, and now he's just kind of been stuck in AAA,
Yeah.
and he hasn't moved anywhere. And it's when you see people like that you know not struggle, but are so inconsistent in the majors, but do well in AAA. It almost you throw in the rag. It's you kind of tip the cap to him and is like, hey, listen, you can be a part of this organization, but the show just isn't made for you.
Yeah.
And it's hard to do that sometimes. Um, I mean, how long has he been on the Cubs for at this point?
That's a good question. I don't have that answer.
I mean, I'd say more than 4 years.
Yeah. So
another important thing that I think we should touch on is the Cubs did sign Austin Roma in this offseason. Not to a super huge contract.
1 year.
I think, 1 year deal. I think it's either they don't think Amaya can play, I don't think they want to bring Amaya up without their plans knowing for Wilson. I don't think they want to split time with them. Amaya can play first, but I don't think the captain's going anywhere.
No.
I think he's going to retire a Cub, so I don't even think you look at that position. I could also see Josh Fegley getting pulled up. He played a little bit last year, played pretty well. Ian Happ was pretty vocal about him. I think a couple days ago. There's a lot of speculation that Wilson Contreras might leave or might get traded. It depends on how much the organization wants to fully commit to this rebuild. Because, like you said, the rest of the Central hasn't gotten any better.
No, they've got worse.
The Cubs have been looking at Colton Wong, who's a free agent who has been in St. Louis since I can fucking remember.
My thing is, your defense can be great. You can average. You can only give up 1 or 2 runs a game. But if you can't hit the fucking ball and score runs, you're not going to win games. You're going to lose those games 2-1, 1-0.
And he can't hit.
And that dude, he's not a really good hitter.
He started off pretty well. I think he played I think he was in the 2 hole for a little bit.
He hits in spurts. He's sporadic, but he's not a consistent good hitter. That the Cubs need a good bat. The Cubs need a consistent power hitter or a contact. They need both, honestly. They need a good contact hitter, and they need a good...
I don't understand the reason getting rid of Schwarber then.
No. And Schwarber's...
You tenure him, or you just sign him to a 1-year fucking deal? Because Hayward's got 2 years, or this year and 1 more year, right?
Yeah.
I think you play this year. I think you figure out what Jason Hayward's going to do. I think he's going to retire, honestly. I don't see another team taking him for another contract.
No.
Because he's going to want the money he's making now. I think, especially with how ass-end loaded his contract is.
Yep. That man is getting paid these next 2 years.
Which we all knew was going to happen, which is part of the reason they shipped off
Darvish.
But, I mean, you ship off Darvish, there's no reason whatsoever. John Lester wanted to play 1 year, $4 million. Wanted to play $4 million. He went to Tom Ricketts and said, listen, I'll take fucking $2. I'll take $2 million a year.
Let me retire, Cub.
One more year. Let me retire. And Tom Ricketts and Jed Hoyer looked him in the face and said, we'll pass. And at that moment, John Lester probably felt like, fuck this organization. And I don't blame him. That he is hands down the biggest free agent signing in Chicago Cubs history. 100%.
100%.
No doubt in my mind. 100%. That 6 years that he was there, I don't think he had one season where he went under 500. I don't think he had one season where he had above 3.5 ERA. I mean, he played his ass off. You got to think. World Series ring. If we don't... John Lester was the beginning excuse me, of that era.
Yep.
Once we signed John Lester, said, all right.
That's when things got serious. Yep.
This kind of means Theo Epstein's
all in. Yep. Theo's all in.
And then what do you know? We bring in Jake Arrieta. Jake Arrieta was a great Chicago Cub. Great Chicago Cub. He's also, I
free
think
agent.
next week or maybe this weekend
Thrownable.
is throwing a bullpen for a lot of teams, including the Chicago Cubs. I would not. I mean, I got an Arrieta jersey sitting right there in that fucking closet. I would not mind him coming back. I'll tell you what.
I wouldn't mind
I
him coming
love
back
Jake
either,
Arrieta.
but they made the right move of not signing him back because he did not pitch what the Phillies paid him.
No.
If they
No,
can get
no,
him
no.
for less than $8 million a year, bring him back. Let him pitch. That's gonna fill a spot. He's not gonna
I
be.
feel
He's
comfortable.
not gonna be the Arrieta we had, but
No,
he's gonna be
but
a decent rotation spot.
He'll give us 30 starts.
Yeah.
Um,
Just
I don't. Kyle Hendricks. And I, as much as I love him, I don't think he can carry a pitching staff the way. I don't think he can carry a pitching staff for the World Series. Not as the ace.
no.
I mean, like I said, he's the professor. He is goddamn good. He is great.
deals.
But I don't think he can carry. Could he carry the Cubs to a wild card? Maybe a division title? Sure. It just depends on how we hit. Because there have been sporadic last year. Jesus Christ! I could not even.
Well, it's like
I
the,
couldn't
it's
even
like
watch
the end of the 2019 season, dude. I was in Chicago on a Sunday. They scored like 44 runs in 3 games. And then they scored like 11 in the last 7 games or something like that. And missed the
then-
playoffs.
And then no, they made the playoffs. They lost to the Rockies.
Yeah, you're right. But they ended up losing the division.
Yeah, they did. Cause they had like a 6-game lead or something with like 15 games left.
Yep.
And lost it.
Lost it in game 163. Because they didn't hit.
Yeah. There was a tiebreaker. Yeah. And they got shut out that game too. I'm pretty sure 2-0.
I think you're right. It was either 2-0 or 2-1. The thing is,
it's ridiculous.
the ending statement for this is there's no clear direction on what the Cubs are doing. They're half-ass selling, half-ass rebuilding, half-ass. Well, the division they're in, they're gonna contend, regardless of what happens. They're gonna contend.
The Pirates are fucked for the next 5 years. They're so awful.
Dude, they get rid of their talent left and right. The Reds are losing players. The Brewers aren't getting better. The Brewers suck. The Cardinals, it's one of those teams that are going to be around 500. They're going to fight for a playoff spot no matter what, no matter who's on their team. The Cubs have a realistic shot to win the division. But, like I said, what are they doing? What direction are they going? They either need to completely sell, rebuild. I don't like this in between, this limbo they've got going right now. You don't know. There's no clear cut, like, okay, this is what they're doing. Like with, who am I thinking of?
Like San Diego.
Yeah, they're all in. They're throwing all their chips in right now.
All in.
And then, like the Yankees a couple years ago, you knew that they were rebuilding. It was clear and obvious. It's bright as daylight. You knew exactly what they were doing. A lot of people, you can ask people, what are the Cubs doing? I don't know. Are they selling? Are they rebuilding? Are they
It's like
trying
you
to make
they're
one run?
half-assing it. It's like they're getting rid of enough cap to where they can maybe. It's like what the Bears did, dude. They got rid of enough cap last year, and then they signed Robert Quinn to a fucking
Stupid deal.
stupid contract. And he has, guess how many sacks on the year? 3.
Yep.
3 sacks on the year. Okay.
But then you don't pay your young stud who goes and balls out in L.A.
Nope. Leonard Floyd had best year of his life.
Yep.
And it's just like this. I bet Schwarber hits 30 home runs next year.
He's gonna hit. He's gonna hit close to 300, and he's gonna have 100 RBIs and 30 home runs.
I bet Darvish. How many wins do you think?
13, 14. He'll be in the Cy Young again contention. Carantino will probably have his best year hitting wise.
Is he gonna start there?
He's gonna get a lot of time, dude. He will play.
Who's their other catcher?
I don't think it's Hedges. I think Hedges is gone. They do have somebody else, but that's gonna be 50-50 probably.
You think so?
And Carantino
it also helps that he's a switch hitter, dude.
yeah, and he plays first. So he's going to find days
Yeah,
where
but
he's
they got Eric Hosmer. There's no reason that he needs to play first.
well,
Eric Hosmer's washed up too.
well, with Rizzo had days off. They threw Carantini at first, or when Rizzo was hurt, they threw Carantini at first. Carantini's going to see the field.
Oh
Yeah.
I love Vic. I mean, I think obviously the most upset I am. I hate to see Schwarber go, dude. Like I just remember being out in left field and him just coming out there for bottom or top of the fucking first, dancing with the crowd. You know,
He
it
loved
really.
Wrigley. He loved Chicago.
I mean, I've gotten balls from there. I've gotten so much memorabilia from there. Like, I just there is, and I will tell it to everyone, whether you're a Cubs fan or not. If no matter who the fuck you follow, go see a night game at Wrigley and sit in the bleachers just one time. Your team comes to Chicago. The bleacher tickets are $80 to $100.
Be a beach
Anywhere
or
you want.
Blum.
First come, first serve, wherever you want. Just go out there and just enjoy the crowd, soak it in one night. A Wrigley night game, absolutely insane. Personally, I've been to 2 walk-off games. The walk-off, Jason Hayward's walk-off grand slam, and then in 2017, and then last year, and then in 2019, Kyle Schwarber's walk-off home run against the Reds. I was at both those games, and I've never been to a spot where it has been so loud in my life. When Jason Hayward hit that walk-off grand slam to the Phillies, walk-off grand slam, 2-2
Electric.
count, 2 outs,
Electric.
and I watched him. I could cry thinking about it. I swear to God, I watched him pimp the shit out of that home run too. And I literally, I was with my shout out to Jordan Tebow if you're watching this. I grabbed Tebow so fucking hard, grabbed him. And I said, "It's gone." Fucking just watched it sail, dude. Watched it. And it was literally one of the top 5 moments in my fucking life. Like I will always remember where I was sitting when the Cubs won the World Series.
Yep, I'll never forget that either.
I'll never forget it. Like I am so grateful that I got to see the Chicago Cubs win a World Series, and I will always be grateful for that. I said that earlier in this episode, but there is no reason to make the moves that you're making right now. If you really want to if you realistically want to win a World Series in the next 10 years.
The window's not closed with these young guys.
No shot.
The window is not
These
closed.
guys Chris Bryant is so young.
Baez is young. Rizzo
Baez
isn't terribly old. He's still putting out good seasons. Contreras
Rizzo is going to retire a Cub. Contreras
has not even hit his ceiling. Contreras has not even hit his ceiling yet.
Nico Horner, so young.
He doesn't even have 100 games in the majors.
Ian Happ, also really young.
Hit his stride last year.
Jason Hayward. I mean, I'm fine with. We're gonna ride out these next 2 years.
He hit better last year, and you can't replace his glove. He's one of the best defenders in the major leagues.
And whether he's in center, I mean, obviously Ian Happ's gonna be center fielder, but on his days off, I'm sure Hayward's gonna play center. But there is no reason. Like I'm gonna ride with Jason Hayward. He's our right fielder. I'm gonna ride with him for these next few years. I really have no fucking clue what we're gonna do in left field. I don't want to see Philip Irvin be our fucking everyday left fielder.
I don't either.
I hated that motherfucker when he was on the Reds. I hated him.
It's not good.
He absolutely hated him.
Can't hit.
Can't hit. He's just a cocky motherfucker. I can't deal with it. I don't. With that being said, prediction on next year's wins for the Cubs. Right now, speak it in. And place in the division.
88 and 74, first place.
I'm going 85 and 77, and I think we take second. I think the Cardinals are going to have a good year this year. They dealt with way too many problems last year with COVID and shit. I think they're bound for a big
idiots too.
Yeah. Oh my God, they fucking their protocols are so bad. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, we're not getting into that, but
yeah,
that will do it for today's episode. Wednesday, January 27th, 2021. It's our first dive into the Cubs talk and a little bit of MLB talk. We will see you guys on Friday. That'll be a whole kind of week recap, and I look forward to what the big games this weekend. Tonight, currently, obviously, it's probably by the time this gets uploaded, it'll almost be over. The number one Lakers against the number one Sixers are playing. Number one in the East, number one in the West. So we will definitely recap that on Friday as well as the other games. You got anything to say?
No, man. Just appreciate for we broke the 100 likes mark on our page. Keep liking, keep sharing it, put it out there for other people to see. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Put it out there. Let's get this shit popping. I'm really enjoying. I look forward to this Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I really do.
Yep.
I had a pretty fucking shitty day today, honestly, and came home, made some fucking food, busted out an episode, and I'm in a pretty good mood now. So
Yep.
I will say that.
All right, with that, we will let you guys go. We will see you on Friday. Peace.